Satnam, I'm Lillian Savoy here at Awaken Change podcast, where we come home to our body, our energy, and our soul. And today my guest is Guru Karam, also known as Laura. She goes by both. And she is my yoga teacher for the past 6 years in Kundalini yoga. I'm just about to finish my 500 hour, and her loving husband, Matab, has been my teacher for also 6 years. But Laura's on today because she has so much to share with us. She's a nurse, gerontology specialist, self-care specialist, yoga teacher, hypnotherapist, and Ayurvedic specialist. I mean, what's something you don't do?
Electrical, plumbing, no.
Okay, good. No plumbing and no electrical. But if you need anything for mind, body, and spirit, she's your lady.
Well, we try.
Yeah. So I'll let you introduce yourself some more as we go. But I think today for our listeners, we're going to focus on healing the body through learning the basics of Ayurvedic medicine, because everybody's so confused, including me. That's why I wanted to have you on here, because I don't want to make it too complicated. And I need to know whether to eat leftovers or not. And I need to know whether I cook, on the full moon or the new moon, because I am the chef of the house, right? So we're going to dig into that. We may touch on hypnotherapy because I think that's so interesting. And then, of course, we'll touch on meditation, which you're so good at. And I always need help with accountability on that. So, Okay, so take it away. Where do you want to start us? Do you want to start with the basics of Ayurvedic, or how did you get into Ayurvedic medicine?
Okay, well, that's an easy one. Really, it was yoga, because Ayurveda is the sister science of yoga. I mean, they live together in India. There's really not one without the other. And when people ask me what Ayurveda is, I say, well, it's Indian traditional medicine, but it's more, it's that, but it's also lifestyle. The lifestyle aspects of yoga and Ayurveda are really one and the same. And, ideally it's better to not need the medicine, right?
I try not to take any Western medicine whatsoever, unless I'm dying or having a surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And if not, I whip out the herbs. I call all my friends that specialize in different things, you being one of them, right? And Matab being one of them. And just whatever I think I need, I try to find that person or that specialist to help with that ailment instead of just going to the doctor, because that paradigm is dead, at least in my world.
In mine too. I mean, I have a primary care physician, and I really, really like her, and she's she's very open to all modes of healing and all that. But I can't actually get in to see her when I need her. I came down with the flu this winter, and it turned into pneumonia, and there I was at the urgent care, and I was really happy to get those antibiotics. Yes, I was.
Yeah, and I think that's when, and pneumonia is very serious because it does attack the lungs, and, it is a bacteria and it does need an antibiotic. But at the same time, leading up to that, we have to keep ourselves healthy.
Yeah.
And we have to work on our gut and our brain and our bodies and our organs and all of that stuff, so that when we get that, it doesn't kill us.
Yes. I was surprised. It's like, oh, this could kill me. I'm a nurse. I know these things.
Yeah.
Let's check my oxygen levels. Oh, they're not good.
Well, at least you get to filter yourself as a nurse. So you went traditional style at University of Texas, right? In Austin.
Oh, yeah. And I was 50, and I don't know, I just sort of had this. There's multiple reasons. One is probably, financial security, wanting some sort of like a trade other than teaching yoga. And I don't know, I just had this crazy idea that I should, pursue nursing. So I was 50 when I started, and I had no science background really. So I had to do all that prerequisite stuff. That was fun. And then I wound up in a master's program. And then I wound up getting an advanced practice. So I was working as a provider, seeing patients. And one thing about being an older person, a mature person, shall we say, is that you know when to cut your losses.
That's true.
And working that job was not good for any level of my health, mental or physical. So I said, okay, well, that was interesting, and I don't really need to keep doing it.
So did you go into hypnotherapy and you decided to work with people's unconscious mind, so to speak, and to try and get, help them on that level? Like, what took you from Western to hypnotherapy?
Well, in a way, it was my astrologer husband, because I had put my notice in at my job, and he knows my chart, right? And I have I have good I have good aspects of my chart for using my voice that way. And so he's found a training for clinical hypnosis, which you have to have a master's degree, be a medical professional of some kind to pursue that. And he's like, that's happening in 2 weeks. Go.
Oh, that's so great. Well, I just want to interject real quick. If anybody wants an astrology with Matab, you do get a discount by contacting Laura or Matab and using Lillian 10.
There you go.
So, and it is great time to have a reading, which I'm kind of jealous that you're married to an astrologer.
Like I get a reading? No.
Well, it sounds like you got a reading for your clinical hypnotherapy. But, when you're feeling lost, are you like, Matab, I need a reading real quick?
Sometimes more, we'll just talk about things that are going on in the world, or like I'll say, so where's my Mars? And we got all this Mars stuff going on right now. And anyways, but he's kind of loath to do a reading for me because he's my husband, It's like the doctor treating his own family.
Oh, I thought that's what we were supposed to do.
Well, they say in astrology it's really good to do readings for other people, not so much for yourself.
Okay.
Because you can get real wrapped up in, we have a lot of bias. But anyway, he's the one that told me to do hypnotherapy. And I was like, oh, yeah, that sounds great. I'd love to do that.
And did he tell you to do Ayurvedic stuff too?
Yes. And I got into Ayurveda. Well, I've been interested in it probably as long as I've been interested in yoga, which is a long time. Probably since I was at least in my mid-30s, I really started pursuing Ayurveda because, well, I love to cook. I am the chef of the family. And once again, in my chart, feeding people is pretty prominent. And I've been a vegetarian since 1975. And Matab has been a dietary fanatic since before we got together. So although he has mellowed so much in recent years, but so that whole healing through diet was definitely a through line in my life, and pursuing yoga, and then there's like this whole like science, sister science of yoga sitting there, which offers so much practical advice for healing and for just creating a lifestyle and habits that will support you in your journey through this human existence.
Yeah, I love that in the back of our Kundalini books, they tell us how to eat and what kind of milks to drink and how to do this and how to do that. And, has that been there for hundreds and hundreds of years?
Well, the Charaka Samhita, the primary text for Ayurveda, is at least 3,000 years old.
Wow.
So this is like I guess you could say it's folk medicine, but it's a really refined science. In India, they've been practicing and experimenting on themselves for a really, really, really long time, and observing the results. But in like anything, I mean, there's surgical aspects of Ayurveda. And in fact, in Vedic times, there's evidence they were doing cataract surgeries, including like reconstructive surgery for people who had wounds.
Wow.
I had Mohs surgery once and my surgeon said, "Oh yeah, this technique of these using this little flap of skin to cover the wound, that's from India, from like a 1,000 years ago." So
Wow.
it's a fairly sophisticated system, and it's vast. It's really vast. I mean, there's the herbal aspects, there's surgery. That's a whole separate field in Ayurveda, although I don't know if it's practiced very much these days. And then there's just the lifestyle considerations, which are called dinacharya, which is really about forming healthy habits that support you in this body. So I think for most people, that's a great place to start, because we all know that forming healthy habits and habits that support us is, well, I don't know if we all know it, but it's the work that'll get you through this life, right?
Yes. We need help getting through this life with ease. Okay, so let's use me as an example because we can,
Okay.
right?
Okay, sure.
Okay, so I'm calling you as I need a consultation. Okay, and I'm calling you and I have a thyroid that has a like a bump in it, and I can feel it in my throat. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I eat I eat healthy, not fairly healthy. I eat healthy. I cook 95%, right? And then I eat out like pretty higher end meals as far as, no fast food. And then I drink a little bit of alcohol, just, a little bit, because I get headaches now. So I've almost elevated out of alcohol.
Yeah, your body's like,
Body's like, I don't really like that substance anymore. You're just going to have to be sober all the time. I'm like, great. I have a little bump in my throat, and I call you and I want to fix it by diet because the ENT couldn't find a lump. So I have to go to the ultrasound, and the ultrasound is going to cost $500. So I'm putting that off. So I'd rather pay for you. So I'm going to call you and ask you, what should I do? What would Ayurvedic tell me to do? Would it tell me to drink goat milk, raw milk, coconut milk? Like, would it tell me I'm a Vata, a Pitta? Tell us.
Tell us. Well, we would start by asking you a whole bunch of questions. So usually my process starts with sending you a basic like entry level questionnaire,
Okay.
And then also some weird questions like, what? Okay, so we'll just talk. So what type of weather do you find most annoying? What do you really not like? Is it like wet and damp, hot, or like dry and cold and windy?
Ooh, I would say if I'm snowboarding, it's windy and cold. I don't like windy and cold. I like
Okay.
cold or I like windy, but I don't like windy and cold. I think that'd have to be my top one. Windy
Okay.
and cold.
And what about when you live in Louisiana, so what about when it's like really hot and
I
swampy?
just put my bikini on and get in the pool.
Okay, you like that, fine. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. And if you were to have like an emotional challenge, it could be anywhere from like somebody cutting you off in traffic to whatever, your kids doing something crazier.
Yeah.
What would be your initial response? Is it anger? Is it, well, whatever, life goes on, I don't really care? Or is it more anxiety or worry?
Mine is more of like an impatient anger. Like they're driving too slow
Hmm.
or they haven't gone and the light is green. So it's an impatient anger like, hey, move it, like that.
Uh-huh.
So
So you don't say, oh my God, that person's driving crazy. I'm really worried they're going to kill me.
no, because I mean, I do that because I'm a very defensive driver because that's how my dad taught me. He was like, you need to be a defensive driver and not, don't just worry about yourself. You have to actually worry about everybody else on the road.
Mhm.
So that impatient anger is probably learned behavior over time from being a defensive driver.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see one more. Does your skin tend to be, do you get like a sunburn? Do you react to the sun pretty strongly? Or is your skin kind of dry? Or do you tend towards like, I would say like either dry or like sensitive
Yeah,
or
dry
like
and
oily?
sensitive.
Dry and sensitive. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Let's see, what else? Okay. So that gives me a little bit of a read on your doshas. So let's talk
And
about,
tell everybody what a dosha is.
let's get to that.
What's a
So,
dosha in Ayurvedic?
okay. Well, we got to start with the elements.
Okay.
Okay. So the underlying foundation to this whole I, concept of Ayurveda is that the elements of ether, air, fire, water, and earth make up this realm of existence.
Okay.
So we have earth, water, fire, air, and ether. And those elements are really making up this whole universe that we can sense and experience through these bodies. And because they're universal, they're in everything. They're in us. Everything's made out of them, right? But doshas are the forces that happen when excuse me, sorry, those elements combine. And so elements tend to have a proclivity to combine air and ether, form what is called vata. And if you think about air, it's very mobile, right? It's always moving. And ether is space. Ether is the space that holds everything. So it's really stable, but it's also like really light and hard to perceive. And it's kind of like gravity. It's everywhere, right?
Yeah.
We exist in the ether, but the air is always moving through it. So vata is that energy of mobility. And then you have water and fire, which forms pitta. Pitta think about fire with water. Well, mostly fire is what you think of with Pitta, but we'll talk more about the water element of it. But Pitta is like, what does fire give? Fire is very bright, it's hot, and it's transformative. It's the catalyst. It's what happens. It's the catalyst. It's a change. So fire is very bright. It's about sight. It's about light. It's about catalyzing change and being very outward, kind of. And then Kapha, Kapha, some people call Kapha, is water and earth. And if you think about water and earth, what do you get? You get mud. But that's great because things grow out of mud. Yeah. Things grow out of the earth. And so, but the earth is also really stable, and water is fluid, but it's heavy. It's water. If you think about the power of water, what water can do, it's heavy. It's got a lot of weight to it. And so Kapha is about stability and structure. And if you think about these things in terms of your body, Kapha, let's go back to Kapha. Kapha is like governs the bones, the structure, the cellular membranes, the fascia, the structure that everything is happening in. Pitta, water and fire, is, especially in our bodies, think about digestion and enzymatic reactions and endocrine reactions, because endocrine, your hormones are substances that are secreted into your bloodstream and then they're metabolized and they create change. And then Vata governs all the channels in the body. It's movement. It's the circulatory system. It's the respiratory system. The nervous system is all of that's governed by Vata. So we have all of these things. We are all of these things because we're made out of all of these elements. But we have a proclivity or a tendency as a human being towards one or more of the doshas. Okay. So most people have two. Like I would say for you, probably Vata Pitta.
Vata Pitta. I think I've been told that.
And there's all kinds of tests you can take. There's online quizzes you can take.
I bet ChatGPT might do a quiz.
I'm sure it could.
Yeah.
I would check it again, the results against more standard questionnaire. But, and so that's great. We have, people are people and we have our ways of being, and that's fabulous. I'm very Pitta.
Like all Pitta?
No. And it changes as you age, what your proclivities are too, because as we get older, Vata increases, right? Because more and more change. We don't like to think that as we get older, we're changing more, but we really are. There's there's that period when you're born to reach a, maturity in your late teens, early 20s, and things are pretty physically stable for quite a while for most of us. And then, after, mid 50s, things start to change.
Big time.
Yeah.
I've noticed it. I'm about to be 50 this year.
Oh, congratulations.
And I have to stay on top of everything. Like, on top of it. It just is, it's amazing what our body wants to do and let go of. And all of a sudden your knee comes out. And I went to go visit my mom yesterday and she's like, I think I've pulled my glute muscle putting on my shorts. And I'm like, what? How did you do that?
I was going to say, wait till you hit 70, sugar.
Yeah. Yeah. She's 78.
Yeah, I hit 70 this year. So.
Well, you look fabulous for 70. I kind of have this thing where 70 was kind of bad in our family, because my dad got diagnosed. My mom had back surgery, like, major. My stepdad was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. My dad's still living, but he's in a wheelchair. But like, all these things happened with my parents because I had 4 parents and then my husband had 2. So we still have, 5 out of 6 living.
Wow.
But at 70, it felt like the world kind of came crashing down for them. And I was thinking to myself, I just remember this ER doctor, a friend of mine told me, he said, well, if you can make it past your 50s without getting cancer, you're free and clear. And I'm thinking to myself, well, what's the advice for 70 then? That's great advice for your 50s, but what do I need to know in my 70s? Because I'm definitely going to live another 50 years.
Well, and that's the thing, because we are living longer, right?
We are, yeah.
And I remember when my aunt was diagnosed she was probably 71, 72 with pancreatic cancer. And my mother was devastated, of course. And she was like, she's so young. She's only, just turned 70. And I'm like, I'm a young person thinking 70 sounds pretty old to me. But at a certain, in previous eras, 70 would be really quite elderly, but now we're not so much. So we got to keep the engine running. We got to keep the vehicle in good shape.
Okay. So I have a yoga question for you then, because we learned this in class. And so, there's only so much, basically prana that we have, right? Mm-hmm. And we only have so much vitality, and every single person is different, right? So I could look and be the same as my bestie, who we're all turning 50 this year, right? Mm-hmm. But what if her prana runs out at 85 and mine is 82, or hers is 95 and mine's 98? Like, how do we know what our body vitality is?
Well, you don't. I had a big lesson this year. I wound up, anyway, it was the beginning of the year for me was not a happy thing. I had a knee injury. I had surgery for that. That set me up to get the flu. And then I got pneumonia, Yeah. All because I could trace it back. Well, I fell down. So my advice is don't fall down.
Falling is rough. I fell and I got staph, and then I didn't go to the emergency room. I went to the ocean instead, and then, cured my own staph. And then I had, what is it called? Side effects for a long time for that. Mm-hmm. And then I got fussed at saying, you need to go to the hospital for staph. I'm like, but that salt water kills staph is what I read. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, yeah, but it goes straight. When I started having heart palpitations from my staph, I was like, maybe I should go to the ocean and just sit in the ocean, because this cannot be good. But it was from falling down.
Yeah, exactly. So, you got to take care of the vehicle, and there's also karma.
Yeah, tell us about that. So, like, karma is going to tell us how long we live, or because, my understanding is we're building karma every day. Every time I tell that person in the car in front of me, like, oh, hurry up, right? My impatient, it's like, am I creating karma in that, or is my karma already set?
Well, one could say that it's your karma that you're in this moment with that person, and they're creating irritation for you. That's one way to look at it, right? There's the Renanu Bandhanas we all have, which are the ties, the results of interactions from past lives, things we need to take care of with people. So that's karma basically means action. The word karma you could translate it as action. And so we live in this realm of karma. This is karma central.
We're getting our karma all the time.
Right. And you're generating them, and it's okay. It's what happens here. But, by living a thoughtful and kind life, you can, hopefully not be generating more debt to people, It's like, oh, uh, it's like allowing yourself, giving yourself the grace to forgive somebody who's offended you. That's a really great way to like let go of to cut those karmic ties with that person. It's like, oh, you've offended me. We have this thing. Well, I mean, I'm not going to forget that you were a jerk, but I forgive you for it because you're a human, you're doing your thing, it's crazy, this life, and, you know,
I
we're
love
done.
that. I love that because I mean, I've had a few falling out in my adult life, and I can count it on one hand, so it hasn't been many, but
Mhm.
it's definitely been like very traumatic, and I do forgive them
Mhm.
and move on, but I still am like, I always question, like, is my karma done? Did I learn my lesson? So I kind of go into like this second guessing, doubting phase. Like, okay, was that event traumatic enough to where it won't happen again?
Yeah, well,
Or does it
maybe.
even be measured like that? It's
I
not
don't
even
know if
measured.
it's even measured like that.
Yeah.
I really, I'm not an expert, but in my life, I found that if I can let go and not, because Pitta people, going back to Ayurveda, we tend to
Yeah.
kind of hold a grudge.
Oh, you feel like Pitta people hold a grudge? I don't hold grudges, but you said I'm Pitta Vata, but just
Well,
because I've watched, some family members hold grudges, and it makes them very sick
it does. Holding the grudge.
and overweight.
Yeah, because you're carrying other people's stuff. You're taking it
Yes.
on.
So I
Who wants
find that I
that?
don't hold grudges, but I definitely question whether it's going to circle back around and bite me in the ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it always can, I guess. Who knows? It might be next time around. I don't know. For me, what I find is best with the whole karma and forgiveness thing is like try to live my life as best I can
Yeah.
and be, um, what is it? Morally, take the high road, I guess. Although it's hard these days as we're bombarded with the evidence of the sins of everyone around us. But and also I just try to give it to the goddess. For me, that's the deity figure I can relate to best is the mother. And I see myself as a little child, a little baby, and allow myself to crawl into her lap and say, "Thanks for taking care of it, Mom."
I love that. Okay, so we've been on that kick too, like, give it up to God, give it up to the goddess. And just because it is so overwhelming, like since we're talking about food and diet, and, one thing that's really, really got me, all worked up, and I have to work on this every day, releasing this, is just learning more and more about our food and how they just abuse our food and poison us every day. And I remember Matab telling us this in my first yoga class with y'all in Texas, but he said, we're entering in the Aquarius age, or we were in it. I can't remember exactly what he said, but he said, there will be no more secrets. You will see everything come to light, and it will be overwhelming. And that's what I feel like the Aquarius age has really done for me. It has shown me, like yesterday, for example, it showed me that pre-washed spinach, okay, we're talking about spinach
Hmm.
and lettuce. Pre-washed means washed in chlorine. And the reason why, so anything in that plastic organic container, okay, because that's what we used to buy. Never will that touch foot in my refrigerator again. But it's washed with chlorine first. Then the second wash, it's like chlorine, a little bit of water. The second wash is less chlorine, a little more water. The third wash is all water with a tad of chlorine, and that's what the FDA measures. Then that's why it passes the organic, because it's so many parts per million, but it's mostly water. But that first wash was pretty much all bleach and chlorine. Okay, so then it goes into the plastic thing. And I was just like, you know what? I have freaking had it. Like, you can't even eat lettuce in this country without getting bleach on it. You know?
Yeah.
Just like,
which might be better than E. coli, but
it is better than E. coli, but it's like, why are they putting, again, that was something that was exposed this year. Why are they putting human feces on the crops as part of the fertilizer? Again, that was part of it. Like, why are you putting E. coli on the crops?
Right. And why are we raising cattle in such a way that it's facilitating the spread of, why are we giving them all the antibiotics? That creates antibiotic resistance, which creates the stronger bugs, which gets in the poop and goes into the food. Yeah.
And then the E. coli gets in our system, and then we have to go to the emergency room to get the E. coli out.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's, so sometimes I go in the spiral and I think, like, as a human race, are we, going back to your karma and food, are we living out our karma because all of these secrets and lies are coming out to the light?
Well, yeah, I think it's just the times. I mean, yeah, I think we are. And excuse me, I'm going to sneeze.
Sneeze. Bless you.
But anyway,
that means your guides are coming in psychic world.
Oh, really? Good. Thank you. Come on. But yeah, I do. I mean, I think that if you go by what a lot of spiritual teachers and astrologers and everybody says about we're in a really, really interesting and very tumultuous time for human beings. If you think about the amount of change in the world since the 19th century, which 200 years it ain't squat,
right?
In terms of the span of time, right? But the amount of industrialization, the whole amount, the amount of change is staggering, and it's been getting ever faster all the time. And so all of that's leading up to something, and we'll see what Ma and Mother Earth and our consciousness has to say about it. But most people, I mean, Yogi Bhajan, our teacher in Kundalini Yoga, he said, that it'd be 2032 by the time that the age of Aquarius is like fully in gear and we've had a real change. Astrologers, Dr. Robert Svoboda is one of my teachers that I really respect, and he's no woo-woo guy. I guess he is. I don't know. But he says pretty much the same thing. 28, 30, 32 is going to be interesting times. So we have chosen to be here in interesting times. And as Americans, we've had, living in the West, we've had a pretty, I think I look around the world and I think, damn, I've had a pretty good, easy ride.
Yeah. We definitely have a blessed life, definitely, compared to other countries and parts of the world. And definitely.
Yeah. So I try not to take it for granted that that's always going to continue, or that who knows what will happen in this world, in this life, in this time. So the best thing I can do is attach myself to reality through my body and through being in my earth. We built an amazing garden, actually. Here it's ornamental because I don't have enough sun for vegetables, but I have a vegetable plot in another place where I can actually have that connection to the earth. And in this firestorm of information we now live.
Firestorm. That's an excellent word for it.
That's what allows me to stay cool and grounded to whatever degree I can. If I watch the news, how I get really into the interwebs, I was like, my head blows up,
Yeah, no.
My husband tells me, he's like, you need to turn that off. Go outside. But yeah, so for me, Ayurveda and yoga and are just ways, in meditation, are ways for me to experience myself. And for me, that's creating just a little bit of structure or a lot of structure in my life. And, Matab and I'm very, 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 very blessed to have had Matab and I on this journey together through yoga and having sadhana, because we support each other in that. We made a deal a long time ago that there was no excuse not to meditate. So that's a huge blessing in my life. Thank you. And but
I love that. Can we touch on that for a minute? Like, there's
sure.
no excuse to meditate. Y'all, do you meditate together as a couple, or do you just do your own meditative practices in separate rooms? Like, what does that look like for y'all?
No, we do practice together. Yeah. And we do a yoga set, and we lately we started adding we do hatha yoga together in the afternoons for physical structure realignment and strengthening. And then, but in the morning we do a little yoga set, and we do Satkriya, and we do about an hour practice together. We do a pranayama exercise, Kriya for about 11 minutes. We do Sat Kriya for 11 minutes, and we do Kirtan Kriya for 11 minutes. And that's the current
That's the current sadhana.
The current sadhana. So
and tell the audience, like, what does sadhana mean?
Sadhana means daily practice.
Okay.
Daily spiritual practice. And it can be, actually it means spiritual practice, but for practicality, doing something every day, ideally even at the same time frame, creates it's like a little anchor of stability in your life, right? That allows you some time to process. And really, you have to process. Our minds need, and subconscious and unconscious are receiving all the time. We're receiving all of this flow of information that we're in. So you got to process it somehow. Dreams are one way, and meditation is another way, just to say, oh, there's some stuff, let it go. There's some stuff, let it go. There's some stuff, let it go. Yeah. And so the practices that we do in my practice in Kundalini yoga, those are like venues for me to get to a place where I can things can come up and I can let them go, and then I can enjoy a little bit of openness, hopefully.
I agree. And in my meditation, I'm doing the 40-day. I know that we're supposed to be doing the 90-day, but I keep messing up on mine and restarting over. So I finally decided, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do the 3HO, who had a free meditation for 40 days, sadhana. So I've been doing that, and I just log on, and it's amazing all the junk that comes in when you meditate. So we're doing the one where all the mudras, the triangle go into the heart, and it's relieving stress and past relationship drama or trauma or whatever you had, and it's improving the relationships that you have now. And it's amazing, like the relationships that come up in my head that I haven't thought about in years. It really is releasing the trash out of my head, storing for I don't know why. But so that meditation has been so good, and also doing it daily with a group in a class has been amazing, because Andre and I we used to meditate together, but we really don't meditate together anymore because he gets antsy and I get irritated. And then, so we have to do a separate yoga practice. So he does his in his room and I do mine in my room. So,
but you do it.
Yeah, but we do it. And I would definitely not be as calm a person as I am today if I didn't meditate. I think Kundalini changed my life 6 years ago. And I think that came when in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's when I really needed it the most, because I was raising a teenager and now I'm about to start raising another one because he'll be a teen this year.
Wow.
And I think that we need all the tools we can get to raise teenagers.
Oh, for sure.
Because my mom and I laugh about it, how now, back in the day, she just closed her door. She just went into her room. She closed her door, told us to not make noise, and we did what we wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't do that anymore.
Yeah, I was pretty free range too. Yeah.
Yeah. Feral kitty. Yeah.
Yeah.
My girlfriend and I, we claim that we raised ourselves, even though we didn't. It's like, it's just different nowadays.
I think, well, I did not have children, and it was a conscious decision not to have children. And I admire people who take on that job so much. Because
but you're teaching all of us who have children.
I know. But there's a certain remove.
Yeah, there's a certain remove, but I should still wish you happy late Mother's Day.
And happy Mother's Day to you too.
Yes, because you're mothering us. Yoga teachers are you're mothering all the people that you're helping elevate, and you're helping people elevate in their food and their spirit and their body and their mind. And that's being a mother. I think it comes in all forms,
Well, and the mother's everywhere. I mean, she's the creator of this whole world, all the deities and all the karmas. Yeah. Jai Ma.
Ma. I remember that meditation that we did one time, and it was just like, Ma.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was
and
so
that
cool.
Chanting. So in your meditation, is it a breath meditation or is it a chanting one?
It's a 5, 5, 5, 5 inhale, 5 hold, 5 out. And it's 11 minutes. And then the one I need to be doing for my 90-day, which I will start Saturday when this one ends, is the you hold your hands out like this and you chant or you sing.
Yeah, that's
to be a teacher, because that's the one I needed the most, which I find is odd because I do teach, but it said it was my one that I needed. So
well, if your consciousness tells you that's the one you need, then do it. And if you're like, then you can have the whole conversation with yourself. It's like, this is hard. I hate this.
I do. And that's why I've quit like 5 or 6 times. And that's okay. But I think it's, going back to Ayurveda, but I mean, I think this is why I've never done Ayurvedic stuff, because it's hard.
Yeah. And indeed, working with people, it is a challenge because it's really big. So we scratched a little bit of the surface right there with the elements and the doshas. And then, then you're talking about lifestyle things and lifestyle changes. And as a yoga teacher and yoga teacher trainer, I can say that that's always the hardest part for people. It presents a mental roadblock. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you just start to make some little changes or do a little bit of meditation or whatever, then things will change anyway and you don't have to worry about it so much. But we're always, as human beings, we are looking for a way out.
Like a way out of not doing the hard stuff?
Yeah, a way out of not doing the work. Because as much as we want to change, as much as we think, I really, want to change, I want to be healthy or whatever, there's a part of us, our ego, that is really happy with the way things are because it's the way things are and it's what we've created. And so there's a lot of attachment to that that you don't even realize is there, right? And that creates that's a way in which we can, that resistance is can create strategies to fail. So
I am living that right now.
yeah.
Like, why is that? Because I'm trying to look at my life from an observer point of view, right? Because we want to be kind of the witness of what is preventing us from doing what we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, but why is it that we do create strategies for us to fail at doing what we want to do? That's like so brilliant that you said that. Why do we do that?
Because our ego likes things just the way they are. We know this system. We know this system. I know how it works. It's fine. It's our mind, it's our ego that's like, yeah, you don't really, yeah, no, you don't really need to change. And so, but realizing that, you start to see the ways in which we sabotage ourselves, right? Either by saying, oh, I have to do this one meditation. It's really crazy hard now. And you can say, well, I'll just do something else, which you did, the 40-day thing, and that's been really powerful. So that shows you that it's all going to work. But you have to like notice your proclivities. So perhaps we pick things that are really hard so we can say, I don't have to do that. I can't do that, or whatever. I can't change my diet. I can't just eat kitchery or vegetables or whatever. Or I hate vegetables. I can't eat vegetables.
Yeah, like
Or,
I'm working on one right now because Julia and I are starting a Lyme trial. I have Bartonella, the co-infection of Lyme. She has Lyme, and we are fortunate enough to be included in this Lyme trial, which is all natural, which is a heart-brain coherence and a meditation.
uh-huh.
And so I'm so excited that this doctor's leading it through us. It's for her PhD, and she's at the same school I'm at, but she's like 2 years ahead of me. So,
Wow,
so
that's great.
it's been great. But one of the suggestions from one of this doctor that I follow is to try and just eat raw vegetables and fruits, just raw.
Mm-hmm.
And my everything against me says, "Ew, no, I like cooked. I like warm. I like things. So
And
what?
that's your Vata speaking.
That's my Vata speaking because Vata likes warm. Yeah,
Juicy,
soups.
cooked, raw foods. No, that'll
So what's
aggravate Vata.
raw in Ayurvedic?
Well, generally, for let's go back to Ayurveda. Okay, so there's Vata. It's the most mobile. It's the pushiest of all. It's what the air moves. So if you're a Pitta person, the air can either blow that fire up or and add oxygen to it and make it flame up, or it could blow it out, right? It's pretty powerful. If you're a Kapha person, the wind can, carve a mountain. The water can, the wind can move the waves, create a hurricane.
Sure, tsunami.
So, so when the air is the most mobile and it's the dosha that kind of will push the other ones out of alignment. So, and we live in a really Vata aggravated world, right? We have all this electronic communication. We have all these calls for our attention. We are so mobile. We can get on airplanes and go places. We just went to the freaking moon, through space. So, and so Vata is very powerful in the world right now. So consider, 400 years ago, if you're a human being, you might be nomadic and move around with the seasons, or you might just stay in one place all your life. We'd never travel to the West Coast,
Right.
or once we started, well, anyway, so all this movement in our culture is very Vata aggravating. So almost anybody could benefit from Vata pacifying things, one of which is not Vata likes things that aggravate Vata are crunchy, cool, um, and astringent and uh, bitter. So this kind of things. And if you look at a raw vegetable, look at a raw piece of broccoli. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I ate some last
crunchy.
night.
It's very
Crunchy.
crunchy.
Yeah,
And
sweet.
it's got an astringent and bitter undertone to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you were to um, steam it and make it soft and warm, then you get a little more sweetness out of it, right? And sweet helps to alleviate vata. So the things that alleviate vata are salty, sour, sweet, and unctuous, like warm and fatty, soft. So I would say that everybody in the world right now could benefit from eating more soup.
And
Good
is
soup
there,
that you make yourself.
yeah, soup that you make yourself? And I had a client one time and she came in and she was on a raw food diet and she was like, I'm just not digesting. I don't feel good. I said, well, put your food in the sun
Hmm.
for a few minutes before you eat it.
Yeah.
Just to receive the energy from Mother Earth and let the sun come in and warm it a little bit. And she said that worked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a few
And
minutes in the sun, just giving it that life force energy instead of like what you're talking about, irritation. Like don't
adding some fire to it.
adding some fire. Yeah.
Yeah.
Warming up the cool.
Yes.
So is there like a book that people can, if you would say, go to Amazon and get this like quick beginner guide for Ayurvedic medicine, like besides, because it sounds like if they have a good understanding of it, or if they just even get the tip of it and then call you, y'all can dig in a little bit more without you explaining like the entire, ancient system, which is a money saver for them and a time saver for everybody, right? Because they get a little bit of overhead and then boom, it sounds like you can be more productive. Is that a good way to put it or no?
Well, yeah, and you might not even need to talk to me. You could just start implementing some things on your own.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the thing as well with people is because we resist change at a very deep level, it's
Yes.
best to incrementally make small changes and sneak it in, and
Okay.
you create habits. And there is the book on Ayurveda that I would say is really classic and easy to understand, is called Prakriti, Pra. I can send you a link.
Okay. We'll
Prakriti
put
by
it on the.
Dr. Robert Svoboda.
Okay.
Dr. Svoboda was the first Westerner who was trained and graduated from the College of Ayurvedic Medicine back in the 70s. He's a couple of years older than me, he and he has wonderful books on spiritual development as well. Agora, the three Agora trilogy books are sort of his spiritual. Well, there's the story of his spiritual mentor, but his book on Ayurveda is very clear. Prakriti is very clear, and it very practical, and also very deep. So that's a great one. Almost, I'm trying to think what else. Um, Dr. Ladd there's so many resources now. Dr. Ladd at the Ayurvedic Institute. If you just go to the Ayurvedic Institute's website, you can take all the dosha tests you want, and it's a wealth of information. The same with Maharishi, the TM people. Mm-hmm. That's who I did my Ayurvedic studies with, and it's mapi.com, MAPI, and Maharishi was really into preserving and promoting Ayurveda, because Ayurveda is an ancient science, but it's in the modern world, and it had to go through the fire of colonialism as the British occupied India for a few hundred years there. So he was really committed to rebuilding it as a health system. And many Ayurvedic physicians in India they practice more allopathy.
Because of that, because of the British, you think?
That's probably one of the root causes, but it's modern life too.
True.
Yeah. So, but anyway, there's a lot going on, and I think Prakriti by Dr. Robert Svoboda is a really great introduction and overview, and it gives you it's very practical, but it can also give you an awareness of the depth of the science.
Of the science, yeah. And people love that. They want science-backed stuff.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I don't need it, but there's a lot of people that do need it, because I just trust how I feel, right? Mm-hmm. But a lot of people need to know the science behind it. And I think that's
sometimes
good.
And sometimes that's there. I mean, in terms of in terms of yoga and like gong and sound healing and all of that, I mean, people are always wondering, like, where's the science? I'm like, well, who's paying for the studies? Nobody.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man.
To do a controlled study, it's great. You're in this controlled study. That's for the Bartonella. That's great that you get the opportunity, and she's having the opportunity to do that.
It was such a gift. Yeah. Because, to treat that, I've already priced it. It's, $25,000 per, for each of us. So, and that's to get, alternative treatments. But I have so many of those alternative treatments at home. I have my ozone machine, I have my red light, I have my Tesla lights, I have all my stuff. So I just do it all. And then I have to keep up with the meditation just to make sure that I'm emptying out the trash on a daily basis, right? Yeah. Emptying out the trash,
and building awareness. I mean, that's the other thing that yoga and meditation gives us, is that, as you said earlier, developing that witness consciousness, right?
Yeah.
Observing what's going on. It's like,
oh, that was really nice of me to sabotage myself today. That was really good work.
Or, wow, and then you start to get actual messages from your intuition, once you can trust, right? It's like, oh, that's a real hit. Okay. But it's from that practice of observing the activity of the mind that you start to say, oh no, that's like an old pattern. That's stuff that's what I do sometimes. And then then there's like, oh no, that one was real. That had the reality of the feeling of realness about it, right?
Yeah. So. And it's, I am I'm into this book right now. I hope she comes on my podcast, but I don't even know her name right off the bat, but I'm almost done with her book, and she's all about reprogramming our codes from childhood and like what we learn. And, and so it's just been so cool, because it's just like, she's a neuropsychologist. So, it's just another form of meditation. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing, just said differently for a group of people that understand it differently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, and it all comes down to having some sort of venue where you can do that work.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know.
And showing up for, like, I needed this 40-day person to show up, and I've been people's 40-day person,
Sure.
where I led groups through 40 days. And now I'm in this group, being the student.
Because
And
we're always the student.
always the student.
Ideally.
Always the teacher, right?
Right. Yeah, I was thinking about that this morning. I was like, in fact, I thanked my husband for, I was like, poor Matab, he got a wife who's always the student.
No, it's not poor Matap. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me?
Well, he was
You're amazing, and you have so much to teach us. And I want to have you back on, because I want to talk maybe in the future. I really want to dig in, and I've done this. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking up what podcast I did it, but I really want to dig in a little bit to the unconscious and the subconscious versus the conscious. Like, I am just really, I don't know, I'm just really enthralled with that. And I feel like sometimes I'm a dead record telling everybody to meditate, but once you start meditating, then you realize like all these little parts to your brain, and you're like, why aren't we learning this in school? Why aren't this is some cool shit.
Or, or you're living your life and suddenly it's like, why did I do that?
Yeah.
What? And you realize it's just like something from your unconscious, like just like went blah, somehow out in the world, either through an action or through something you did or something you said. You're like, oh, where did that come from? And then you're like, okay, let's explore that.
Yes. And I think I'm at the stage where I'm just obsessed with that right now, like in a good way. I'm just like, ooh, okay, all right, where's that coming from? Because I've always had, my psychic messages come through, because that's how I was taught. And that's just one of my natural gifts. But exploring the different parts of those brains that just tell us what to do and how to think and how to act and what we're safe on and what we're not safe on. It's just like, that is so cool. I need to. So I'd love to have you back and dig into that. Maybe, is that the hypnotherapy part?
For me, it's meditation and it's hypnotherapy. The thing I like about hypnosis is it's working in that trance state. So, and we're all in trance. So much of the time, whether I'm looking at trance with my iPhone or reading a story or whatever, it's so, or, just daydreaming, you slip into that trance, right? Yeah. And so to actively work in that space is really interesting. And for me, I really like the past life stuff too, because, and even not even so much the past life stuff, although it can give you really interesting information that what might have, where something might be coming from. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah. But also that space in between, like going to the womb and working in that space as you came into this body.
I remember doing that. Didn't we do that in class? We did the rebirthing.
Maybe not so much with hypnosis, but
not with hypnosis, but in Kundalini we did the
rebirthing stuff. Yeah.
Oh, so, but you do the hypnosis in the womb?
Yeah, it's like that's part of the regression into past lives, is going to the womb. And then, but that's just such a liminal place where you're coming in and people can have that perspective. Like, oh, that might be why I chose this time. Or maybe it's a good place to access your psychic, your guides, your motivations for how you set up this life. And of course, that's, my bias. I think we set this all up.
No, I agree. And I'm, and
because it's a school.
We're on Earth School.
Yes, exactly.
We're in Earth School. See, we're always learning. And if you're not always learning, I think you're dying. I mean, because we're already dying.
We are dying. Yes.
We're already dying.
Yeah.
So at least make it interesting.
Exactly. It's a limited experience in this hotel.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm so excited you came on, and
Well,
thank you for
thank you.
sharing all your knowledge with us.
So, in terms of Ayurveda, I would say um, eat soup, eat warm foods.
Soup.
Yes. And oil your body. Get some fractionated coconut oil, the kind that doesn't get rancid, especially here as we go into the summer, and apply a little bit to your body after you take a shower, and especially to your feet, and that'll help ground you and bring you back into the body. It
Which
calms
is
the body.
perfect because, I just created, I haven't rolled it out yet. I haven't launched it yet, but I just created a cellulite and body scrub.
Oh, there you go.
So I went to Hawaii and got all inspired because I had a spa treatment. I was like, this needs to be shared with the world. I think I'm supposed to make it.
All right.
So anyway, it's in its container. I'm doing labels. It's coming.
Wow. Wow, that's great. I look
Yeah.
forward to it.
So it's very grounding, and it's just like what you said. It's just a little bit, like you said, out of the shower, or when you're feeling like you need it, hands, feet, areas
Mhm.
that irritate you, that smooth it out.
Oil is good. It protects us.
Okay, good. See,
It
I gotta put that
nourishes
on my
us. It protects us from that dry wind.
yeah, the dry cold.
That's right. All right.
Okay, and if people want to reach you, where's the best,
You can go to my website. It's pretty basic, but it's selfhealthcarenurse.com.
okay.
And if you want to know what's going on with yoga and because mostly with the yoga teaching, it's Matab and I teaching together, and that's all available on his website, Yogi Matab, YOGIMEHTAB.com.
Yeah. Yogi Mata. And his website is, I looked at both of your websites, but I always go to Matab's too because, it has all the classes, upcoming classes, and they teach Gong and yoga and meditation. And then my favorite one that just passed was mind and meditation.
Yeah, we do the level 2 Kundalini classes, which are really open to anybody. And yeah, and
21
the Gong.
stages of meditation. They teach so many classes. And then Matab does astrology, and then Laura does hypnotherapy, Ayurvedic, and what's the other consult you do?
That's pretty much it.
And we can do a past life.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's part of the hypnosis package. So yeah, there's all kinds of stuff we can do. Who
Okay.
knows? I right now my husband's in the backyard digging some holes.
I did that this morning before we talked. I did some gardening, and so yeah. Okay, well, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you for your amazing advice and wisdom. And please come back.
I'm happy to chat with you anytime, Lillian. You are a
Okay.
delight. I'm so happy that you came into our lives. And
Same. And I'll continue. Always the student.
ooh.
Okay, Sat Nam.
Sat Nam, take care. Bye.
This podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. Please use your own discernment and seek professional care when needed.